Welcome to a tutorial on how I use this resource with my students. I'll share any tips and tricks that work for me, but do feel free to modify as you see it for your own students. And this tutorial might be a little long because there's a teaching component, but I promise that it will be useful and helpful to use this deck. So we work a lot on answering questions, who, what, where, and more in speech therapy, but asking questions is equally important, but it's very difficult to teach because if you ask students to say, hey, ask them what they ate for lunch, our students often just give you the answer, oh, I ate sandwich, because they're so conditioned to answer questions and they're not used to asking, especially on command or upon request. So what we try to do here in this activity is giving students context and purpose for asking questions. So we're going to set them up where they need some information and asking questions becomes meaningful for them. Okay, so that's what it says up here. Once this page loads, it'll start reading the instructions automatically. If you want to stop it, here's a button to do so. It says your friends came back from a trip and they saw some interesting things and took many pictures. That's the context. Again, it's reading at the top. It says curious. They will show you the photos, but only after you draw a picture of what they saw. Again, down here, you can click it after this portion is read if you'd like to hear it, but you can just read it yourself as well. So to find out what to draw, you should ask questions about what they saw. So this is where asking questions becomes necessary. And these are the icons you will see throughout this activity. This is who, this is what, and this is where. Just the basic who, what, where. And make sure that your students are somewhat familiar with who, what, where words. And although next page has some teaching components. So here again, you can click to hear it. It says, let's find out what was happening in this picture. And this icon, you don't have to memorize it, but this is just a general action, what was happening icon that you'll see in this deck. So let's find out what was happening. So there probably was someone. Then ask who. To find out who was there, ask who. And there was probably also something in the picture. If you want to find out, then ask what. And it was also happening somewhere at a place. Then we're going to ask where to find out. So who, what, where. Make sure the students are familiar with these concepts and words. This yellow button over here gives you the written instructions that you can, these are clickable. But I'll go over all of that in this tutorial, so let's skip right over it. And this is a teaching component. So once you introduce these icons and the vocabulary, practice asking questions because you can't assume that they know how to word them, what to ask. So here, let's practice asking WH questions. This will take you straight back to that original page if you need to go back, but let's keep going. So everybody, so let's ask. Something was happening. They took a picture. So let's ask, what was happening? Encourage your students to say that, what was happening? And click. Okay, someone was eating something somewhere. That's what was happening. But let's find out. We don't know the details. So someone was eating something somewhere. We don't need to ask all the questions at once because some students feel like they have to say all the words. These are grayed out, but it's good to use this draw tool I usually just cross them out. Just let's ask one at a time, okay? So someone was eating. So when we want to find out someone, we say who. All right, and go down below. This is a student asking the question. So let's say who. The color box corresponds to that WH question. Who was eating? And you can click this yellow button if you want to hear it, or you can just read it yourself. Or students can say, let's ask, who was eating? Again, this colored box corresponds or gives you the answer to the who, a shark. A shark was eating. Click on the photo. It shows you the part that was answered. a shark was eating. Okay, so let's move on. Let's find out more. This time, we're going to ask that something. Okay, so a shark was eating something, so we need to find out this part. So we're going to ask what? What? But we can't say a shark was eating what. So we're going to start with what. And this is needed a lot of times because a lot of our students don't know the syntax, the word order for asking questions. So we say, what was the shark eating? Okay, can you guys all say that? What was the shark eating? It is an example if you want to have them hear it. So sometimes at the beginning, it's helpful to bring a pen out again. And then I would show them, okay, we say, what was the shark eating? And just show them, give them as much visual as possible to see how the words are mixed up when we ask questions. Okay. So what was the shark eating? Let's find out. A boat. A shark was eating a boat. And click on it and you'll see the boat. So look, the shark is eating a boat. Ooh. Now we have to still find out somewhere. The shark was eating a boat somewhere. So let's find out. We're going to use the word where. Okay, we're going to start with where. Let's ask, where was the shark eating a boat? Where was a shark eating a boat? Let's find out. On the beach. A shark was eating a boat on the beach. Can you picture that? Ta-da! Here it is. The baby shark was huge. So now it says, now you know how to answer or ask the questions. Once this lesson is through, if the students need this, go back with this arrow and we'll get back to this page. You have an option of having 2-part questions or the 3-part questions, just like you saw in the example of the baby shark. Let's start from here. Photo number 1. Okay, encourage the students. Okay, let's ask, what was happening? What was happening? Click on it. All right, let's find out. Someone was drinking something. Okay, we're not going to ask both at once, so let's take a break from this one. Let's ask one question. Ooh, sorry, I forgot to ask. Who? Who was drinking? A bear was drinking. Okay, very good. So let's ask, a bear was drinking something, so we need to find out what that something is. So let's find out. We're going to ask what, okay? But we can't say a bear was drinking what. So we're going to say, what was the bear drinking? That's how we're going to say it together. Ready? What was the bear drinking? Very good. Let's find out. Coffee. A bear was drinking coffee. So this is where I encourage the students to draw what they found out. Okay, you guys draw a bear was drinking coffee. Go ahead. And this is actually a lot of fun because, especially students, if they like to draw. But I'll just give them really short time. I tell them it's not a drawing contest. It's just a quick sketch. So give them maybe a minute or so to draw, share it, and then let's find out. And then you get to click on this photo and you get to see the picture. 1 cup every morning. So this is a bear drinking coffee. And again, it doesn't have to be accurate. I just let them know that whatever they drew was a picture in their head. And as long as it looked something like this, that was perfect. Okay. So that is how it goes. And 3-part question. Again, it has all 3 parts: who, what, where. Sometimes who, what. It's not always all 3 different ones, but there are 3 boxes that they have to ask. Okay, and that is how it goes. I think that is all there is to this lesson. So as always, use it as creatively as you like, and I hope you and your students enjoy asking questions and drawing a lot of pictures. Have fun.